Hello and welcome. It's Bashir Fadl with Love the Course. As we talk about project management, we're going to start today by talking about what is a project. Let's define what a project is. Generally speaking, there's two ways of doing a job. Let's do construction. Let's say we're working IT. We have people that do regular maintenance, day-to-day jobs. So I could be a maintenance worker. I'm someone that comes in and clean a site on a regular basis. I do it today. You come 5 years later, I'm still doing maintenance work. You come 10 years later, I'm still doing maintenance work. In IT, we call that production support. So let's say I'm an administrator. You come in today, and as an administrator, server administrator, I need to create 5 users. You can come in 5 years later, and I'm still working doing the same thing, creating users and freezing users or disabling users. On the other side, they are what we call projects. Projects are things that have usually four basic characteristics, and we're going to talk about them a little bit introducing today and elaborate over the course about it. So a project is usually something, number one, that has a time frame. It has a start date and an end date. So we say, for example, in the next 30 days, we're going to build this floor in terms of construction. In terms of IT, we're going to call it application development. So production support is usually what is considered maintenance work. But application development, when you're developing something, when you're integrating something, when you're migrating something, it's usually something that has to happen in X amount of days. We have a system that's in a legacy system, and we want to move it to, let's say, a Salesforce system, and we have 30 days to do it. That's a project because number one, it has time, which is a start date and an end date. Number two, it has a scope. A scope is defined as having things such as size, goals, and requirements. The requirements is to move this, we're going to need to have access to this system. To be able to do this migration from the legacy system to Salesforce, we're going to need to move, we have a terabyte of data, but we're going to move 100 gigs in this first 30 days in this project. The first phase of the project or the sprint we're going to work on, it's going to be, migrating 100 gigs of data. So there's a size to it. There's a goal of what we're trying to accomplish. There are requirements. We call that the scope. Number three is resources. We're going to need resources to move things over, which means we're going to need human resources, just as people. We might need a business analyst. We might need 2 developers. We might need an administrator, so a team of 4, maybe less, maybe more. But that's what the human resources part of it is. Also in resources, we have equipment. Equipment is we might need, a cloud server, a machine, whatever resources that we need and access to them and so on. And then material, especially if you're doing physical construction, you are going to need certain materials. In our case, it could be things such as documentation, BRD documentation, SOP documentation, and so on. So the first thing in a project is time. You need a start date, end date, duration, sometimes dependencies. Number two is resources in terms of staff, equipment, material. Number three is scope in terms of size, goals, requirements. And then number four, all of this is going to cost us something. We're paying for the hours of the people that are working, for the resources and everything else. So number four is money. Money includes things such as cost, contingency plans, and profits, because we're either saving the company money or the project money that's being wasted, that we're going to minimize it maybe through automation and other things, or we're increasing profitability. So money is the fourth valuable component of what a project is. So again, if I'm working IT, production support normally is not considered as a project because it's something that happens on a regular basis. Production support, we're maintaining different things, creating users, creating reports, removing things that happen on a regular daily basis. But then we have things such as integration, such as migration, such as production, application development. We're developing, a new component or a new app or a new piece of that app, new functionality. So those are considered projects normally because they have a scope, they have resources, there's time, and there's money that's involved in it. To complete the course, now simply just go to lovethecourse.com, scroll down, go to your project management class. In here, today we covered what is a project. You can go in and study the notes. You can watch the video in there, study the notes with all the definition that goes along with it. Then if you scroll down all the way of the project management, you're going to find the quizzes to prepare us for the certification exam. Jump in there and start taking the quiz that corresponds to it. Best of luck, and thank you very much for your time. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you.